All right, everyone, we're live. This Arsenal Fan Circle Thursday night. We are back and got Tony, Gary, and Sam as well.
Sam playing Nixon over
Arsenal have imperiously moved smoothly and through the gears to the top of the Europa League group. I think we're too good for this group. We may not be good enough for the Champions League, but we're too good for this group, Sam. What do you think? 4-1 against Molde.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it as well, Sam? Molde or Molde or Molde?
Molde.
Molde.
Yeah. Think about Mulder in the X-Files. Mulder. That's roughly what it sounds like.
Yeah. First, we destroy Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in Manchester United. And now we went back to his homeland and destroyed his team there as well, Sam.
Yeah, and his one of his old assistant managers is now at the helm, and he started well, didn't he? He got that sucker punch at the beginning there, and but all's what do they say? All's well that ends well, or something like that, isn't it? Something like that.
All's well that ends well, and Leno getting punished a little bit for his mistake in the clearance. The ball comes back, and gets caught out a little bit from the spec.
I thought for me, Leno's got to get that. A world class. If you want a world class goalkeeper's got to get that, because it's even though it's there's dip and there's that bounce. It's not far enough out. Close. It's not close enough to the post for me. If he's positioned correctly at full stretch, he's supposed to get that ball.
Yeah. Welcome everybody in, and Gary was here. Putting out the welcome doormat here. Good evening, Gunners. Welcome to the video. And Molina's here. Thanks for joining us. Good to see everyone on the panel. Come on, fire up them likes. Sam is recently obsessed with the great Pepe. Long John Silver, Sam. He's found with scoring boots now as well.
That's what I keep saying. That's an old grandfather clock. Even though it doesn't work, it's still correct twice a day, right? I mean, it's he does a couple of good things today, and I'll give it to him that his second half today was quite good. I think he ended up with a decent game with the second half, but that first half was atrocious. I mean, he was really, really bad in the first half, and on the right-hand side, not doing very well. Arteta moved him over to the left, and then he started doing things a bit better with using his left foot. Then, which is basically that's the only foot he's got, isn't it?
Yeah. Steve Denham, thanks for joining us. I give you a shout out as well. So, DWT, good to see you. So all of the pleasantries here. When I put in Molina, spelled Melons just as well. I checked. Okay, Stephen. Okay, Gary, you had some things to say about this performance tonight, Gary. So
like Sam said, it was basically a tale of two halves. All right, if you looked at the score, you would have thought, okay, we handled them pretty soundly, but the first 46 minutes, is it 45 minutes?
Yeah,
we looked like 11 individual players out there. At least that's what I saw. They didn't seem to fit. Nobody did the 11 didn't seem to fit right. That goal was, I think that, a lot of people complaining about the defense and all of that, but I think the long kick pretty much set the defense up to fail at that point. And then I think Leno probably could have got back to his line and then probably would have been fine, but he seemed to take his time getting back there. And next thing he knows, the shots come in and he's too far out of position to make a play on it. So that's how that went. And I felt like we had a lot of good opportunities or good chances in that first half, and just a lot of bad execution. I mean, I think it's either Pepe or William on that. I think it was Pepe. His cross ended up out of bounds. At one point, he's trying to make a move on the defender inside the box, and the defender's just standing there, and he forgets the ball and ends up hitting the defender, and it was like, oh boy. That's him trying to go right. So I guess, I think he was trying to go right, but he left the ball left because he just can't help himself. Willock looked good from the get-go. I mean, I got in my notes around the 3-minute mark. He made a good. Willock looked good on a cross that came through. So I think he pretty much was, at least to me, one of the stars of the game. That first half was like to, I guess, bend that or find some good things to fix in there. But the second half we came around and then we had to make subs, which I kind of don't like the fact that we have to make subs to to finish off the games because I think we had our opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
We probably could have put that game away. I mean, I think we scored 4, but I like to feel like we had our 6 to 8 goals in us for this game, and not like I'm not reaching. I don't think I'm reaching when I say that.
There seems to be a lot of chances. I will admit that I only saw the highlights of the game, so I'm deferring to the other three guys here on the panel to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about our favorite drink, cola, and his miss was.
Oh yeah,
it was. You're speechless. You're like, wow, like that's where you're supposed to be. That's one of the easy shots. I mean, as I said, as I was watching it, he didn't even have to kick it. He could have let that thing hit him in the chest, and it would have scored. Because the ball had nowhere else to go but forward, and if it went any bit forward, it was going in. And he just like, I don't know. I always like to say maybe they don't practice that, but you practice that. You have to practice a volley, right?
Yeah, of course. And one of his last opportunities to score a goal for Arsenal again, because surely he's living on borrowed time right now.
Yeah.
Gary, I would have thought my lineup had Runerson in the team between the sticks, so it seems like a pretty strong side that Arteta put out.
Yeah.
From Kolasinac's side, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Mustafi, and David Luiz. The team kind of picks itself right now in terms of rotation, and the two boys in midfield, Granit Xhaka and Ceballos, getting starts in the Europa League now.
Yeah, Runerson, I didn't understand why he didn't play, but I could probably see the other ones because I think Nelson and Emile Smith-Rowe are still were out because of injury.
Yeah.
So I kind of understood that. I mean, the only other person that I don't think anybody else, that didn't play, that didn't start anyways, was a surprise based on what we know now. But when you first look at it, you're like, wow, what's going on? I think Kolasinac, his time's he's probably on borrowed time. I mean, every cross that he took,
he won't get a better opportunity.
Hit the first guy. It didn't matter where they were. It hit him every time. He just, I don't think he, once again, do you practice that? I mean, don't they put like a cone or a big, dummy in front of you and say, all right, here's a cross, get past the first guy. Also, didn't we spend money on a new, a person that helps us with that kind of thing, with crosses, set piece. I mean, if you're, I mean, each one of those would look like set pieces to me when Kohler came off the edge. I mean, he's
stealing. That guy's stealing a living at the moment. I'll tell you that.
I mean, our crosses are going out of bounds. I mean,
our corners are terrible. Our free kicks are terrible.
And these are things we need to get better on because we are living off of our strikers right now and the opportunities and expected goal index and all that stuff.
And I know we're going to get into it because we'll talk about our next game. But who do we play in our next game?
Aston Villa.
And how many goals did they score from a set piece in their last game?
You tell me.
They scored 3. They scored 3. 2 off a free kick and then 1 off a header off a free kick. I mean, it's like, wow. Yeah, that's.
All right. So,
consider any offset pieces yet?
Tony, what did you like to see? Talking about the defenders in midfield first, and then we'll get into Joe Willock. I think we need some time to speak about Joe Willock. But Tony is back with us after last week. He was out in the wilderness, wandering around with his Davy Crockett hat on, and 77 hours without electricity. It must have been pretty rough, Tony. So it is good to have you back in the warm. And in the confines of this podcast once again.
Yeah, what was worse was Sunday finding out my neighbor next door that had their tree all wrecked had power the entire time.
Oh, that was mean. Wow. Wow.
Well, you survived that ordeal, and big up to you, Tony. So Tony, Granit Xhaka is, in your opinion now, Granit Xhaka has found his level in the Europa League, right?
I don't know if that's even his level or not. Him and Ceballos both looked horrible today. There's definitely no way back for them into the Premier League with Elneny playing the way he is and
Yeah, and
partying.
we're definitely going to be talking about Partey and Elneny as well in the next segment. We want to stay a little bit further. So we're good game for Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well. He was able to get a start as well.
Yeah, he should have had plenty of starts by now. It's kind of ridiculous he hasn't had any Premier League time, but it's nice to finally see him get a start anyway.
So an action-packed game tonight. Kolasinac could have scored one of his last goals for Arsenal. But Joe Willock, I thought played very, very well. Looking at the highlights, he is the player that we need breaking into the box from midfield. He kind of scares defenders because he breaks through the lines, and he's not a static player. He doesn't stay in the center circle like said Granit Xhaka, like Ceballos at times as well.
Yeah, if we're going to play with a midfield three, Willock definitely needs to be getting game time, especially in the Premier League. It's ridiculous he hasn't got a start or a minute all year. Arteta's barely played him even last year. There's 4 times he was on the bench unused. Twice he didn't make the squad. Just for whatever reason, Arteta doesn't seem to fancy him. And I thought he was one of the brightest players starting off the season last year.
Yeah, Sam, I was reading something about Joe Willock, and he said he's not the kind of player who wants to knock on the manager's door and shout about it. So he's going to do it through his performances. And tonight, again, another Thursday night where he is sort of knocking on the door, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good performance today overall. Still a bit inconsistent. He was losing the ball a few times as well where he didn't need to, but he overall he's taking those chances. He's breaking through the ranks, and he gets into positions, advanced positions in attack there from midfield that are very good. That we've been lacking with that link between attack and midfield, and he gets into those positions, and it'll be interesting to see if Arteta's willing to give him that chance in the Premier League as well, because it's that position there I think we're lacking at the moment in the Premier League, to be honest. I don't think we have anyone who's been playing there recently in the Premier League that's doing the same thing. I'd love to see if Willock could actually take that to the next level into the Premier League. Overall, a very good game today. Well, not very good, but good. I don't think anyone really had a very good game today, to be honest. But I think Willock was probably the best performer out of our players today, based on what they were doing, based on their performance.
And that's the thing, Gary. We're in a Europa League group stage that we should relatively easily navigate, and that's what we're doing. We're getting wins, but it's not Premier League level.
Yeah, I mean, but as I recall, last season, Xhaka and Martinelli shined in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And look where they are now. I mean, I think to me, it's all a matter of getting on the field. A lot of times these players need to get on the field so they can figure out, what they're good at and what they're not good at, what they need to work on. And then next thing is to translate that into the Premier League games. But they first need to go out there and actually showcase what they got. And we don't even know sometimes, right? We're looking at a lot of these young players and we're still trying to figure out what can they do well, what do they need work on. And a lot of times we don't know because we don't even get to see them because they're sitting and they don't play as much. And I think they deserve to play. I mean, we're watching players that have experience, but they're just not getting it done the way they should at this point in their career or what we need. I mean, I'd rather take some risks if I can get, the rewards, right? I mean, Pepe is, point in case, right? for any negative plays that he has, he always has a big play in him every game.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
never know when you're going to get it. He may be on the bench when it's supposed to happen because you pulled him, but he's always got one. He's always got one in there, right? And you never know when you're going to need it, especially if your sound, our defense stays the way it is. You just need a moment of brilliance, and he's got it. Every once in a while, he showcases it. We just want to see it more.
Yeah, Gary, do you think Mikel Arteta is fighting his inner instinct here in bringing these lineups out? You got Willock, you got Pepe, you got Willian, risk takers essentially in the team, and it's not something that Mikel Arteta is known for doing in his lineup, certainly in the Premier League.
I mean, those are risks you can take, right? Because those are risks far away from your goal. Right, yeah. I mean, we've been taking risks with our defenders, our center backs, and it's not working out. Now we're a little bit solid back there, but these are risks going in the right direction moving forward. That if they do lose the ball, that you still have a solid defense behind them to back them up if things don't go so well. So I'll take these risks any day. I mean, that's what you want. You never know when the shot's going to come. You just have to be ready to go.
Yeah. Exactly. Melina said we should not have sold Martinez, and when we started out, Gary started to join the channel here, we did a squad overview, and at the time, way back at the beginning of the season, Gary, we talked about possibly keeping both goalkeepers, but that's all well-worn track right now. It is what it is. Martinez will be facing on Sunday, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully after this weekend's game, we'll be okay with Leno because we have enough. I believe we have enough tagging to make Martinez not look so good like he hasn't in the last couple of games.
He has.
We've seen the ball. He's taken the ball out of the goal many times in the last couple of games.
Yeah. Whereas at the start of the season, you see these teams coming to the fore, Everton and Aston Villa. They're sort of leveling off or plateauing now. But let's linger a little bit more in the Europa League for a little bit more. Stephen Denham said some of our crossing tonight was bad, really bad, like Sunday League bad. He wants Pepe to get a run of games. Willian is shit. And if Pepe had the same amount of minutes as Willian, he'd be in a lot better form. And that's something we got to persevere with, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's Arteta like holding back, and I don't know why. I mean, Pepe, at least talent-wise, is worthy of taking a risk. William can back him up when they're needed, but I always thought that William is just there to support Pepe as he kind of transitions into hopefully a full-time player. If he's not, then we get our answer, and we move on. All right.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Darren. So thanks for joining us, Darren. It is it's like 2:00 in the morning there. So that's dedication to this podcast, and we really, really appreciate each and every one of you staying up at crazy hours on Thursday night, Friday morning there. But the weekend is upon us pretty soon. Sam, Pepe, you have talked about Pepe just having a left foot. So if he plays a little bit more centrally, we've seen him getting some of these goals now more centrally in the last 2 Thursday nights.
Yeah, centrally he doesn't get caught out as much on his right foot. I think playing out right, he suffers from 2 things. One is he doesn't really have a lot of link-up play with our right back. Whether that's Maitland-Niles or Bellerin, I don't think there's really much link-up play there at all, to be honest. I think that could be an issue he actually has, where he's not very good at linking up. And number 2, it's very easy to defend against him when he's playing out right. You just show him out wide onto his right foot, and he's very ineffective. And tonight you had very, very mediocre Molde defenders doing that very easily in the first half. I mean, the Molde left back is a very mediocre player, very mediocre, and he had Pepe in his pocket. He just showed him out wide all the time onto his right foot, and the guy was, Pepe was useless. We just have to say it the way it is. And I think Arteta saw that, and Arteta switched in with Willian. Put Willian right, Pepe out left, and all of a sudden it became a lot better because Willian could then use his... Pepe could then use his left foot. Became all of a sudden a lot more effective using his left foot because being pushed out wide then onto his left foot, he could, of course, use that much more effective. And then when you see him when he gets into those central positions like he did for his goal, he is in a position where, of course, he can score, using his left foot. Then it doesn't really matter when he's in the middle there. And he's good at getting into those chances in the middle there as well when there's an opening. So, I think really he's going to be more effective either through the middle or out left, to be honest. Pepe, I'm going to be very honest about him. I don't think outright. I don't think he's good for us outright. I don't think he's good in that position, to be honest. I think the Premier League is not suited for him to play outright like that.
Tony, do you think the club already regrets getting Willian? I mean, I don't think so at this point in time. Arteta seemed pretty steadfast in going out and getting Willian from Chelsea.
I think it was a waste of money for how much we paid him, and 10 million signing on bonuses, all the loyalty bonuses, where it adds up to 32 million pounds. I think that's way too much.
Yeah, I think he's been dubbed the Mickey 2.0, Gary.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not for a team that's cash strapped. They make some really interesting money moves, right? Yeah. I mean, that one. If the plan was, I don't know. I don't understand what the plan was for that, because it pretty much stymied any growth Pepe had, and until he gets. We're wasting Pepe if we want to figure out if he's worthy of staying on with the team, I think, right? I mean, at some point you have to do something. He needs to play or he needs to go, right? It's you're not going to get the money back, that's for sure. Yeah. So you might as well try to get something out of him.
Let's look at that closely, Gary. Two Thursday nights now, Pepe's played and Pepe has scored. So, that's knocking on the door, as we say. Willock too.
Yeah, no, I looked there. There was a stat out there that outside of second to Aubameyang, Pepe's got the most goal involvements of any player at Arsenal. So that's what you're going to get from him, right? I believe, right? You're going to get opportunities to score. The issue is whether we put him in the right spot. I don't think we're putting him in the right spot, so he looks like Sam. He's lost out there on the right. He's not getting any service. He doesn't know what to do when he does get it. His involvement is it's just lacking, right? And he's out of the game. I mean, and it shows on his defense, and it shows in the performances we see when it's a big game. These Thursday games are good to kind of get your confidence up, but I don't know. No, I'm scared to think it just isn't there. No matter what happens, I mean, he scores the goal, and you look at him, and I didn't even see really any emotion. Like, I scored. It was,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, do you want to see that emotion from him, like he scored in the Champions League final, or do you want him sort of saying, "Wow, this is the Europa League. Yeah, I scored. Now bring me into the Premier League."
Well, I want to see some emotion because I feel like I want to see it again. Right?
I saw a little smile there.
Huh?
I saw a little smile there. I think
you saw a little thing. I wanted to see a little bit more. I mean, like when I saw Willock when Willock missed that one turnaround shot, he looked so disappointed in his form. He didn't like what he did, and then he came back and took an even tougher shot and scored. That's when emotion kind of helps you, because he knew, that chance is not going to come again. It's not going to come again, and I won't miss it this time. And he didn't. Mm-hmm. Like what? That was less than a minute after he just missed that shot that I think he could have put on frame easily.
So what we have here is two young players trying to break into the Premier League team by playing in Europa League, both scoring. I think they're both inhibited. They're not outgoing players. They're not going to break the door down and say to the manager, I want to play every week. I should be playing every week. But you see, as Gary said, you see a little bit more emotion from Joe Willock, because Joe Willock he knows he's doing what he needs to do on the field, and Pepe is not outwardly showing that in his emotions as well, and that's going to be difficult for, I think, Arteta to relate to and be able to see, because Arteta wants players who want to be at the club, right, Tony?
Yep.
Players that don't have an ego. We'll get into the Egyptian king as well, Mohamed Elneny as well soon, but that's what Arteta wants.
Yeah, Elneny keeps doing it, right? He keeps showing us why he's worthy of playing time.
Yeah,
and he's getting it for some reason, but other players are doing, I think, the same types of work and not getting the opportunities. So I know there's favorites involved in all of that. That's what some people say, anyways. But
So what I think we're seeing, Sam, is young players. They're not really knowing how to express themselves that way emotionally on the field. They're putting in the hard yards. They're getting the goals, but they haven't yet. They don't have that assurance yet that they are first choices in the team, and that's difficult for them.
Yeah, I mean it's a matter of getting a chance in the Premier League, and I think it's very difficult at the moment because I think Arteta has a preferred, squad that he likes to use in the Premier League that he thinks are doing a good job, and I think it's very hard to break into that. I think that's what's happening at the moment. But for me, like I've been saying lately, there is an opening in that Premier League squad, and that is the opening that I think Joe Willock at the moment could fill up. Because it was originally I thought it was going to be a role that Smith Rowe would be filling up, because I think Smith Rowe, in my opinion, is even better than Willock. But we don't get to see him because I don't know what it is with him. He's always injured, or I don't know what it is with him, but he's fit and he's not playing, and then I don't know what's going on with him. I thought we was going to be seeing him today, but for me, Smith Rowe, based on what I know, he's a better player than Willock, and he's the player I thought we'd be seeing getting a chance in the first team. But now it's Willock, so yeah, I think Willock deserves a chance in the first team in the Premier League, and because there is that opening there behind the forwards, and we'll see now if he pushes on to do that. I think it'll be a bit unfair on Willock if he doesn't, but that's the way Arteta is. He has a very disciplined approach to his squad and everything, and I think everyone is aware of that. Everyone is on board with that, and it can be very strict, but I think it's the same for everyone, basically. Yeah.
So Gary, what we may need to do, what we may need to see to get Joe Willock into the team is we have that structured midfield in the Premier League, Partey and possibly Elneny, and we're going to talk about them very shortly. We have that solid back four, so Willock could sit slightly ahead of those two in midfield.
Yeah, man, I think that would be nice. I think that would be a nice. I mean, like you said, we don't really have that one guy and I think he deserves a chance. I mean, I think he deserves a chance. If Elneny can come in and show whatever he did in the preseason, and people wonder, well, you know what? I'm worried that he's actually going to be on the team for a while. And Arteta was right. I don't know what we're not seeing from Willock that doesn't present the same way in regards to. I think he's got something there that we need and we're lacking.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
We're lacking that. We're lacking that. That midfielder that sits in front there, they can kind of help out and help with the attack.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Tony, he's gonna weigh in with 5 or 6 goals this season if he would play permanently and through that midfield in the Premier League as well. That's only going to help us as well.
Yeah,
no caller.
Is it Davy Crockett?
Davy's calling again. Stephen said, Aubameyang said Pepe is the most skillful player at the club. Play him behind the striker. Pepe has played well in big games. City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Yeah, come on now. Tony, thought that was a wolf behind you. LOL. The assembled is great to see you again. The assembled here every week, and we really, really love all of the comments and the back and forth. Smith Rowe was on loan, fit and healthy, comes back to us injured again. it's so frustrating because he's such a good talent. Gary, I feel like Smith Rowe is probably a year behind Willock in terms of his development at Arsenal. Willock has been a fixture in the team. I think he's played in the about 50 games now. Not all starts, but
Well, I don't get it with Smith Rowe because he was actually deemed fully fit and back in full training like 2 weeks ago. I saw it on the website. So I'm thinking, okay, great, we can see him soon now. Then he's back, he's in full training now. He's ready to go, and we're still not seeing him. I don't know whether he's got a new injury setback or what. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest news, but I just don't get it. He was fully fit, back in full training, and now we're not seeing him. I don't know what's going on.
yeah.
He's been in training photos, so he's still playing with us.
Yeah, it's the one thing that I'm wary of is that all these players that are going to be answers, they can't play because they're injured, aren't going to be the answers when they're healthy. And there are players out there that are healthy and are playing that are showing some good some good answers to questions that need to be answered, and they're not playing. We might have the players right now, all right? We might have to. Willock might be the answer.
Yeah.
Nelson, if he's healthy, might be the answer.
Again, what we're talking about is the bravery of Arteta just to, turn the corkscrew on the soda bottle again and let all the good stuff out. You know what I mean? He's doing that slowly. He's been defensively sound. Rule said Willock needs an EPL game, and that's absolutely correct, I believe. Stephen Denham, he's such a good footballer. The Smith Rowe, I think that is. Good to see you, Darren. All right, so we imperiously move on another 3 points. We're top of the Europa League, and things are looking good there. So now we want to harken back a little bit to the Manchester United game. And did anyone see the interchange between my own countryman Roy Keane and Tim Cahill talking about the Manchester United Arsenal game, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't see it, I think it's a good one to listen to. I understand where Roy Keane's coming from. He's Manchester United. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how good, bad, or ugly they are. That's his team, and it doesn't matter his team is. It doesn't matter. He's not going to give anybody credit.
But the funny thing with Roy Keane is, of course, he's quite a good pundit, for entertainment value because he's always very, stern and opinionated, isn't he? He'll tell you straight as it is, and it's refreshing to have that because so many of these pundits are so tinted with.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was about to say that, maybe in a different way.
They're so biased in different ways, and they don't really want to tell it like it is. They're scared to say things. They don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Roy Keane doesn't care. If he hurts someone's feelings, he doesn't care. But at the same time, that is what keeps him there in the studio as a pundit, and not outside it as a manager. Because I don't think people like him. That's the thing. People just don't like him. He's so direct and so demanding and so he's just I think he's a very difficult person to work with within the world of football. And as a manager, he hasn't got a great record either. He completely flopped, didn't he, with Forest, and so he hasn't got a great managerial record either. And that combined with his attitude and his personality, I just don't think people like him. And it's very easy for him to sit there and point fingers, but he's talking about motivating players, and players he's saying, well, players shouldn't need motivating, they should be motivated already. If anyone's going to motivate a player, it's him, isn't he, screaming at them and doing God knows what to get them going. But yeah,
he's from the old school, right? When
the old days.
Players went out for the love of the sport. Now they go out there because guess what? They look at their bank accounts every week and every month and every year, and they keep growing. Yeah. I mean, it's softened that type of those type of players that we all loved, right? We liked the Kieran Tierney's with his Tesco bag coming in, right? He's hard worker, right? you bring your lunch pail to work. That's him. That's what he does.
We're gone are the days when you had like the big players on the pitch battling each other. Roy Keane versus Vieira. You had these big battling guys. Every team had a battler in midfield. There was always a war in midfield between the big guys in midfield. And and that's gone now. We don't have that now. It's more technical, more tactical. It's about passing the ball, fluidity, and all that. The Roy Keane days of football are gone. They're completely gone.
They are to some degree, but they're not in other degrees. I mean, we don't really talk too well about the Spuds, no matter how good they do, no matter what they've done. And that's not going to change, right? I don't think we're ever going to say something good about. They could win every trophy out there, and it doesn't really matter. We are not giving them any credit, and that's basically what Roy Keane's all about, right? I am not giving Arsenal no credit at all. And you want that in sports because that's what we do as fans, right? We sit there and we go, nope, I don't know, nope, we lost to this team. But nah, we gave them the game, no matter how good or bad they were. And I was listening to him, and he's like, I'm not going to give them credit. Nope, Arteta, nope. Manchester needs to do better, and that's you don't see that with a lot of your former players now because it works against their business, right? The business is not to do that kind of stuff. Tim Cahill, I don't, when he was a player, I doubt he would ever say anything nice about Arsenal, right? But now he is, right? He's like, I understand what they're doing, and it's like, you know what? Roy Keane's like, I don't care. No, my team is not as good as they're not where they need to be, and even people, we all see that. We all think, they're not where they want to be. This isn't the Man U of old, right? This isn't the Ferguson days. That's all gone, and now they're just a regular football team, that used to be really good back in the days, and they're not there yet. They have players. We think they have the players. They're just not working together. And you look over on the other side, and there's Arteta with not as many players that cost as much, and he's doing good things. He's like, I'm going to take this player that just was playing in Turkey, bring him in. He's going to solidify our middle with, our big signing of the year. Okay, right? I'm going to bring a young 25-year-old center back in. Nobody knew about him. Oh, that's not going to work. Or, that's what everybody's saying. Look at it. It's working. Right? Louise comes in, helps him out. Holding comes in, helps him out. We have, Arteta's doing it. He's not going to get the credit from the other side. And I think that's fine with me. Actually, I'm seeing progress.
Actually, it's a compliment when Roy Keane is not complimentary to Arsenal. It is a compliment as well. You can gauge it that way. And, we were doing the podcast on Sunday. I was looking at the Tottenham result. They squeaked out that win against Brighton. So I had to ask the question if they were going to be up there challenging for the title. And we want to be up there. We want to take that thing away from them if they're going to do that as well and beat them twice this season. Because we didn't do that last season. We didn't beat Tottenham. The thing that Darren's talking about here is when Arsenal play Man United, it's like his childhood memories in the 90s. Almost my favorite matches when they play each other. And I bet you as well, guys, that Roy Keane would have loved to play with a Partey, would have loved to have played with a Gabriel, would have loved to have played with a Tierney and a Aubameyang. He can see there's quality starting to course through the veins of Arsenal, and he's looking over at Manchester United, and he's not seeing the same quality, right, Gary?
Definitely. And like I said, that's why he can't give us credit, which I like it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll take that all day long.
I'll take that. I mean, it's a good sign for us. We know we've got some good players on our team that, no matter what anybody says, they would want to have them on their team, right? And they're doing really well for us, so. That's fine. Like I said, I enjoyed that conversation, them going back and forth. I mean, Tim Cahill's trying to show Roy Keane the light, and he's like, nope. No, I don't care. I know it's not going to happen. Not today.
Roy Keane just came across as a bitter older man. You know what I mean? And as Sam said, he grew up old school, played for Brian Clough, one of the old school managers, and then played for Alex Ferguson. We'll come to you next, Gary, Tony. Unfortunately, if your contract is worth more in wages, business-wise, you've got to play ahead of a rising talent. That seems to be football today. And let's go back to the Pepe we were talking about. Hit the likes, everybody.
The only reason why I say we should play Pepe is to figure out if we're going to keep him or not.
Yeah,
That's the only reason why I would want to have him there. There is talent there. Are we going to be able to open it and get it out there so that we can see every game for 90 minutes? I don't think so right now.
I'm going to make a point of controversy here now.
Oh,
I would like to sell Pepe, sell Lacazette, and I want to buy a proper right-sided forward, because for me, we're lacking a proper right-sided forward. That's what we're lacking now. Someone who can play on the right, who can bang in goals and create, and just create havoc on the right-hand side there. I would love to have someone out there to fill out that front three.
somebody like
That's what we're lacking at the moment.
a Mo Salah or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, Mo Salah in prime form. Wow, yeah, him. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it that much yet, and what type of player out there now I'd like to bring in. But it's that type of player we're lacking, because the right hand side for us at the moment it's not doing anything. It's a position we're really struggling with, and I wouldn't mind. I'll just say it right now. I wouldn't mind selling Pepe. I wouldn't mind selling Lacazette. The funds for those two players could buy us a really good right-sided forward, because we have Aubameyang, we have Xhaka, we have Martinelli. We have players there we can already use, and we can bring in that real top world-class right-sided forward. I'd love to see that.
yeah. If Pepe is going to only be able to work on the left side, that just crowds it too much, right? Hello, Alonso. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Alonso.
Yeah.
How's it going? Sorry I'm late.
No problem at all. No problem. Well, you told me you'd be late. It's okay.
Yeah.
Ray Anderson, good to see you, Ray Anderson. Long time we didn't catch you live, so stick around with us and give us some minutes, right? Norma's here as well. Norma, thanks for coming back. This weekend, we see if we should have kept Martinez. If Leno makes a holler, we made a mistake in selling Martinez. Yep.
Leno is that's going to happen. We should just don't even. You should not be surprised when it happens, because it's going to happen. We've seen it. It might skip a game, but there's one in them every game. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. So I don't think we should be surprised when it happens, because the nice thing is he's got Gabriel in front of him, right, in most of the games. So hopefully he doesn't. He's got some help. But I think we're just going to have to live with that one for now.
So Ray said, as long as we don't get credit, I'm glad, because I don't like being in the spotlight. Roy Keane and Eric Cantona against our team now, and Tony, Arsenal is getting better when you start hearing crap from the pundits. We're not getting the nice comments anymore. We're getting the snide comments.
And it's about time for us to finally start getting those snide comments again.
As Steven said, it's better when Roy won't give us credit. It's needling him and under his skin even more.
It definitely was. If you haven't seen the video, you should take a look. It's really good. I mean,
Check it.
Yeah, I saw that Gary the other day. I guess this morning, and it was pretty funny how seeing Tim Cahill, talk about Arsenal and how it was getting under Roy Keane's kind of skin. It was kind of
He's like, don't you think Arteta is like, no, Man United? That's like I said, I liked it. It's a good video to watch.
Yeah.
But it's what we want, right? It's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to see that kind of stuff, that kind of talk.
It's funny because Tim Cahill knows Arteta, so it's kind of cool how Tim Cahill had Miguel Arteta's back as some like.
Correct. Former teammates there. And Rule said Ole might be gone soon. We don't want that. We want Ole to keep going on the mediocre train, win a game here, lose a game there. Man United have the players, but not the quality manager.
I keep seeing a video pop up about Pochettino joining them. So
we don't want that. We don't want that.
You know what? I don't think it's gonna. Right now, I don't feel like it matters. I feel like we have players. We just don't. We are not seeing them in the right spots just yet. So It might
And-
be good. We might not. I'd like to see Arsenal improve. That's all.
As Rule says, Sam, if Ole stays, we will finish in front of Man U, and that's why I've kind of put the caption here: Ole and Mikel. Two managers going in different directions, Sam.
Yeah, I think they are going in different directions at the moment. I think Solskjaer has a very tough task. I would say a tougher task than what Arteta has, because I think Arteta is at least getting the backing he wants. You know, he's been getting the players so far that he wants, and with Solskjaer, he's not. You know, this Ed Woodward guy is just basically picking random players for him to use, and it's just not working. You know, and it's tough on him. It really is. So, I mean, Solskjaer has good players, and he's making mistakes by not using the right players and the right combinations. You know, there's certainly players everyone's asking. You know, why does he keep playing McTominay? Why does he keep playing Fred? You know, these guys who are underperforming, and you know, of course, he's Maguire as well. Maguire, I don't know what the hell he has to do to get out, you know, to be dropped. I mean, the guy's he's League One level at the moment. I mean, he's absolutely atrocious.
He's
But he
the
keeps
captain.
playing. But he's a captain, so he gets to play, right? It's like that's the thing with Solskjaer. You know, does he have the guts and the balls to say to the captain, "Sorry, mate, you're not playing good enough. You're not the captain right now. You need to take some time out, take a rest, and then we'll try, you know, maybe a few games time, see if you can come back and do better." You know, he just doesn't have the balls to make decisions like that, and I think that the sum of all those parts is that. Yeah, it just means Manchester United are not performing the level they should be performing at, and yeah, he's definitely going in the wrong direction. I don't think he's got many games left, to be honest. I think the patience is wearing thin with him now, even at executive board level. I think they're seeing now he's not the solution, and with Pochettino just itching, ready to jump straight in there with a project that he would probably like. Yeah, I think I can see that happening. I can see Pochettino coming in and taking over for him. But the problem with Manchester United is, and it's always going to be, as long as they've got Ed Woodward in charge of recruitment, nothing's going to happen for him, because the guy doesn't understand football. He's clueless. He comes from the world of finance. He comes from the banking world. He doesn't come from the football world. And he just doesn't know what he's doing. He's buying players that the team doesn't need. They didn't need Van der Beek. They didn't need Cavani. You know, and that's the player. And that's the players they're buying. So yeah, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
You know, what I don't understand about Manchester United is that why would you want to get a captain's armband to Maguire? You know, he's not doing through, and I never got why he got the armband in the first place. You know, and he's not. To me, he's like overrated center back, even for England. You know, and so
I think Harry Maguire is our Pepe. You know, you have to persevere with him because you spend so much money, Alonso. You know.
yeah.
You know, be like giving Pepe the captain's armband at Arsenal, but he has to play every game. But I think they're stuck with Harry Maguire. Gary?
Yeah, I was just gonna say we had our own, play with the band. Last year, right?
Five bands. Yeah.
So first we had 5 bands, then we had the leader of the band, who everybody's like, "What?"
The leader of the band who threw it on the ground, and
then he threw it on the ground, and he's back with the band, which. Yeah,
the boy band.
You know what? It's not. He doesn't have. You don't have to be. You don't have to be the captain. It's okay. You know.
But it's good seeing Xhaka get captaincy in the Europa League games. You know, I think it's good to see that. I think.
No.
Tony will not agree with that.
Absolutely horrible. So now we're on the field, let alone with arm.
No, but you gotta look at it as it is. You know, I mean, it is what it is.
He burned a bridge, and then Arteta built it back up for him.
He burned the entire city down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not. I mean, there's unwritten rules. That's one that you don't do that. I mean, he knew what he was doing when he was walking off the field, taking his time. He knew what he was doing, Then he got upset because of it, because the fans were like, "What are you doing?" I mean, that, like I said, he knew what he was doing, and he didn't think the fans were gonna, jump on his back because of it.
He should never have been allowed to play football for Arsenal again, in my opinion. It's always going to be like that for me. And people who back him over the club, I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, it's terrible how you can back his behaviour and what he did, despite. I mean, the guy was under pressure. Emery didn't help him by keep playing him when he was out of form and everything, which sort of built things up even more. But the guy's a professional footballer, a seasoned pro. You've got to be able to tackle pressure and handle pressure as a seasoned footballer. And the one argument I always bring up to everyone who tries to back Xhaka in that situation, I say to them, well, show me one other player at that level in the Premier League who has done the same thing. One other player. Which other captain have you seen do that? Who has been under pressure for not playing well? The team's losing. Which other player have you seen do that? We're talking about Xhaka when he ripped off the armband and went off and told the fan base to F off and all of that.
But who else did that?
We don't.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. That's my argument. Because there's so many on Twitter and everything. There's so many people backing him and what he did and everything. I say, well, show me one other captain of a top team or a top level team who's done the same thing. No one's ever done it. It's terrible what he did. And for me, he should never have played football for Arsenal again. And then now, and not just for that, but his footballing level as well. And now we see with Partey and Elneny, we actually see now how poor Xhaka is. I mean, we don't need him anymore.
but Sam, I think you're right. I think with Xhaka, I think it kind of tells you that Emery was just as fault, because he didn't help him. He let him out to dry, and it
made it worse. It made it worse. It did. I'm saying Emery is at fault there as well, but. The player, you're a seasoned pro. You should be able to handle the pressure without doing what he did. That's the thing.
Yeah. And I think that you've answered the Assembles question. I think Sam is in the no category there in terms of your question, the Assembled. Tony? He had his hands up first.
I know. I was trying to jump the line.
This is old school. Old school. I used to go like this. Teacher.
What's worse about giving him the armband back is Arteta refusing the 40 million euros for him. Can you imagine what we could have did this summer with a 40 million euros?
Oh my God.
And still, we get a cheerleader on the bench.
Man Utd would love an Arteta. Hit the likes, everyone. Share and subscribe. Let people know we're streaming right now. Bring people in.
I was going to say, think about it. He was the captain for Arsenal. The captain for the Swiss team, and he did that. So now you've got not only the captain of Arsenal, but the captain of a country, basically throwing his band down. He's still the captain of Switzerland, right?
Yeah.
It's a bad look, but it's just not good. I mean. It's like it's. I don't know if it's close, but it's almost like you're just so pissed off that you're just going to go grab the ball with your hand and swap it away just to get a red card and get sent out of the game. That's essentially what you're doing. That's how I looked at it. It was
embarrassing.
Yeah, and that's why. His play now is the reason why he's sitting. It's nothing else. I think he's just. Yeah. We just realized we can do better. Yeah. We can do better. We've done better with the players that we put in there now. So I like to think that we can do that in other positions on the field, but we're not. Right? We've got 3 forwards, and we're not doing that there either. I mean, I like to see us take the Xhaka situation and move it forward to the 3 spots in the front. Play the best players in the right positions, and then fill in where you can. Yeah. And let's see how it goes.
Like I said, look at Roy Keane. He'd look at the Arsenal team and say, we've got 4 or 5 really, really good players in certain positions. And we've got better players than Manchester United on paper. Tony, I thought Stefan was the one who was talking about wigs all the
Yeah,
time.
this is always talking about the wig and that guy.
And Stefan's not here right now, and Stephen has taken up the baton and moved on with it. All right, Darren is bringing things back in on point here. Ferguson was United's best manager, to be honest, and those were the days. Fergie wouldn't have allowed United to play so bad. True. McTominay and Fred is actually their best player in midfield. Matic too slow. Van de Beek, Pogba, and Fernandes can't do the defensive duty. Okay, so this brings us nicely to Tony. The midfield pairing. We saw against Leicester City how bad the three midfielders were. And basically, Xhaka and Partey were getting in each other's way in the Leicester game. We only needed one of those. Arteta figured it out. And Partey was partnered with Elneny, and we've talked about Elneny being like a Swiss Army knife. And I'm going to call him the great equalizer now. He's able to fit in perfectly into midfield, and he is the kind of player who does everything required to make other players look good. And that a player like that cannot be undervalued, Tony.
He's always giving you 100%. He's always giving you 6.5, 7, 8 performance, no matter what's going on.
Incredible consistency.
He's probably one of our most consistent players up there with Chambers. Chambers always dropping a 7 or 8. You need 2 or 3 players like that throughout the club that can get you.
Alonso. So we've clued you in with the Tim Cahill and Roy Keane video, and Tim Cahill's basically saying, look at the two managers, and Arteta's figured out why we lost, the reason why we lost, and that's why you're going to have progression in Arteta, and you're not going to have progression in Ole, because he still does the same things. But there was a second video, the second highest watched video was in the 91st minute of Mohamed Elneny running around the pitch and closing players down, and that was brilliant to watch, Alonso.
Yeah, and it's also encouraging because Miguel Arteta can use that now as a pairing that we haven't had in a long time, because it seems like they're like the yin to his yang, kind of thing, where they're able to feed off each other's weaknesses and strengths, even so. And so, it's just I'm just so proud of Elneny because he was doubted for a long time at Arsenal and got loaned out, and now he's back on the team, and it's encouraging to see that because it gives us promise for players that were on loan before they're right back and get their place back. So it's really cool to see how he's motivated to be now at 11 and to continue that progress. And it's kind of cool because Miguel Arteta and himself and Nene were teammates as well. So I think Arteta saw something on Nene that nobody else probably saw.
And I think Gary as well, that Roy Keane's just a little bit better, that combined Arteta was a better. If you combine the two, he's a better manager and a better player. Roy Keane was the better player, but not the better manager.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is because he's not going to change with the times, right? The play that he's probably used to and the play that it is now that you see on the field is totally different. And if you don't change with it, then you're going to lose. Arteta has seen it, and then, it's probably changed since he played, right? So, yeah, and you were talking about Elneny and Partey in the middle there. He found a pairing and he's going with it and he's sticking with it and it's working. It gets them what they want, right? I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that blossom and even get more stronger as they move along, right? Once they get that third midfielder in there, we'll see who that is, and looking forward to seeing that. So yeah. And I think when you saw Elneny come on, it looks like he's got a sense of confidence in him when he comes out there. It's not. He knows he can just. As long as he plays within himself, he's fine, and he's showing us is pretty good. So
yeah, he's been playing. He's been playing within himself and then some. He's playing some forward passes, set up a goal 2 Thursdays ago for the Aubameyang goal to break his drought in the Europa League. So
yeah,
he's no longer sideways.
That should be should pop the light bulbs on a lot of the players that want to get out there as well and play. right?
Yeah.
If you would have said at the beginning of the season that Elneny would be, our pairing in the midfield because he's the best one we got, right? You probably would have been like, "What? I don't know." And that's what we're seeing, right? So, I mean, you don't know where that next player is going to come from, but you got to jump on. When you see it, you got to go run with it. And that's what we're doing. I want to see that in other places, so we'll see.
The Sambal has said with Xhaka, Emery wasn't in charge of the decisions, but Arteta said he could make him a better player in January when he could have been sold. Now he's made him captain, who's in charge of the decisions. Sam, you're the natural person to come to on the next in rotation, Sam.
Who's making the decision? Who's making the decisions? Is that what the question was?
Pretty much. Now Xhaka has come full circle, and he's now captain in some situations. He's one of the candidates.
Yeah, I mean Arteta. I think he's the guy with the making the decisions. He's the boss, isn't he? I think he made that decision that I personally don't agree with when it comes to Xhaka giving everyone basically a blank sheet to start off with. When he comes in as manager, saying, "Okay, everyone's going to get the same chance." I personally, I don't think that should happen with Xhaka. I think Xhaka should have been as a principle for breaking the club rules and it's just a principle of what he did against fans and the team and all what he did is you just don't do that. Anyway, I would never have brought him back. But yeah, anyway, so he gave him a chance. He decided to be fair to everyone, and Xhaka has taken that, and he actually, I think the story goes, he actually persuaded Xhaka to stay, didn't he? Because Xhaka wanted to leave, and Arteta comes in and persuades him to stay. So yeah, because I think he realised he needed him, until he wanted to get his own players in. He needed Xhaka because we would have probably struggled a bit more without him at that time until we got Partey in, but it's a struggle worth having because the principles of the club are the principles of the club, and I think letting him stay is not good. It's not good to say that. I mean, what precedent does that set? What precedent does that set when a player can do that and get away with it? He didn't even get punishment. What did he get? Did he get a punishment? I think he got a few games. He got a few.
Yeah, he sat out a couple of games. Like I think maybe
he sat out a couple of games, which would of course would be the absolute bare minimum you think he would get. But did he get docked any wages? No. Did he get any proper, disciplinary reaction? I don't think he did.
Well,
and he never apologized for his actions because he said
exactly, Gary. That's the one thing he hasn't even come out and apologized to the fans because yes, I understand. There were some fans who are on him on Twitter and his family, and that is completely not on. I do not agree with that at all. You do not do that. You do not go after a player's family. That's got nothing to do with the player. And I think, but that for me is a separate legal matter through Twitter that needs to be handled at a legal level through Twitter. You set that aside, but him as a player for Arsenal, to do those things he did and actually say F off to the fans, gesture it as well on the way out. And you've got young children there looking at him as someone to look up to, and he's doing that. To me, that's just, you can't forgive that. There's no getting past that. There's a line in the sand, and for me, he went over that line completely, and there's no coming back from that. There's just no coming back. And what precedent does that set now as a club when you've got players who have done things like that? What can you do now? Xhaka's done that. So players basically can do what they want.
And younger players. Yeah. If they would, young players could do that as well. Sam agrees with you. Principles don't count anymore, Sam. Exactly. The world is a different place right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tony, Darren would bring back Lee Dixon for one game. You can bring one player back for one game only. Tony, who would you bring back for one game?
Probably Rosicky. He always made me happy and smile to see him run.
That's me. I'm old Rosicky.
Nice.
Old Riziki. Get in there, Ray.
I got the hair for it now as well. Alonso, who would you bring back for one game?
I would bring back Super Soul Campbell against Spurs.
That is saucy, Alonso. That is saucy. You're throwing some shade there at the old enemy. I love that. Sol Campbell. That's a great choice, Gary.
Yeah, I guess if I had a choice, I think I don't know why it just popped in my head. I kind of would like to see Dennis Bergkamp come back because I feel like that's one of the things that is missing with the team. He always, one of his favorite phrases is, you should have a purpose for, you should know what you're going to do with the ball before you receive it. You should have a purpose for every pass. There should be a purpose behind every pass, right? And I think sometimes we don't have that. You should know what you're about to do with that ball before you got it. There's options presented to you by the defense. You need to take advantage of it, and then sometimes I feel like we don't. So I'd like to see that from a player like a Dennis Bergkamp because I felt like that's what he did.
We would make a great five-a-side here because Alonso's got Sol Campbell, Tony's got Rosicky. I'm going to pick Anders Limpar, super sweet Anders Limpar. He would definitely.
Limpar, wow.
Limpar, yeah.
Wow.
What about you, Sam?
So the idea is we pick any Arsenal player from any time?
Anytime, any place,
and for one game only, and that's to do with with the current Arsenal side that would come into the current Arsenal side. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's a very good question. But for me, there's only. Sorry, I was a bit preoccupied with the private chat there, but I don't really know. I heard Sol Campbell was mentioned. Who did you other guys choose?
Rosicky, Dennis Bergkamp.
Who chose Rosicky? All right, Rosicky. Yeah, okay. And Dennis Bergkamp. Who had Bergkamp? Gary. And you gone for Limpar, Ray, and Sol Campbell, Alonso Sol Campbell. Yeah. Yeah, very, very good choices. Very good choices. Bergkamp, I think, is a great shout because I think he's a player we really need right now.
Think five-a-side.
Yeah, I think five-a-side. Yeah, five-a-side. Then it's
complete our team.
Then it's. I'm sorry. I know it's a cop out, but it's got to be Henry. It's got to be Henry.
He's not a right back.
It could have been this guy here.
Or Ian Wright. I'll tell you what, or Ian Wright, his finishing ability as well, amazing. It's that striker, that real top level striker. I know we've got Aubameyang, but listen, Henry is just completely different levels, isn't he? I mean, I'd love to see him in his prime, 2003-4 level that time, 2003, 2004. Him in that side now today. Oh, I'd just love to see it. I really would.
And we got to give a big shout out to Ian Wright, who was his birthday yesterday as well.
Yeah, what a player, Ian Wright. What a fantastic, such an instinctive player. I've never seen a player. Well, I've seen very few players who just have that instinct. He just wherever he is, he can have his back to the goal and he'll just turn and shoot. He knows where the goal is. Amazing.
Yeah, and he was able to play with a lot of different partners as well up front,
Yeah.
Good, great. And a great cheerleader, a great ambassador for the club. And we love everything you do, Righty. And long may it continue. Because he's always there out in the media as well, fighting the good fight for us as well.
Yeah.
Now he's in the top middle of our screen.
Well, what an ambassador he is for the club, though. I mean, the guy... Not only can you just see the guy, he eats, sleeps, and breathes Arsenal. Basically, he just loves the club. He's got it in his blood, in his DNA. It's the way he does it as well. The way he goes around and takes part in everything. He talks to the players, he talks to the youngsters. He's always there every game. I mean, the guy is just an incredible ambassador for the club as well, isn't he?
Sam, every club all over the world, be it grassroots club. They've always got people like that they've established the club is within their veins, and they go there every day and are part of the team. Good stuff, Righty. Norman said, "Let's win the league Conte style because the league is pretty even right now. Anything can happen, and we are strong with grit back. And we're coming to a point here where we're gonna get through these first 10 games, and we're gonna have playing easier sailing, a little bit easier, and we'll see what happens. We've lost our 3 games, and hopefully we don't lose too many more, and then we'll go on from there." Okay, let me catch up here. You need a right back, so 6 aside. Yeah, we got Lee Dixon as well, and Darren supplied the first player to us as well. Rule, I will have to disagree. Did fans apologize to him? Booing the player when he was not the worst on the field. The man was being stressed out by the fans. Let's not
An hour
believe
and a half.
They were. I don't think they were booing him because he was bad on the field. I think they
It
were
took him an
booing him
hour to
because
walk off the pitch.
he was scrolling off the field, taking his time. When I believe what we were trying to do was try to get a late score to tie the game, if I recall at that point.
It was like
Yep.
65 minutes he got subbed.
And
But he was basically dragging his feet trying to get off the field. I mean,
Yeah, there was that, and also people forget that it was like he was in poor form. We didn't want to see him play. He was one of the players that he wasn't liked at that time, and Emery kept playing him. And then when he was having a bad game, and Emery decided to sub him, like Tony said, after like about the 65-minute mark, he was pissed off with that, and he just took his time. And then when the crowd started to boo him, that's when he reacted and just completely exploded like he did. And there's just no excuse for that. It's down to again, I don't want to go through it all again, but it's principles. It's principles. That's what it is.
Yeah. Tony, let's have your Don Juan man in the match for tonight.
Little Joe Willock.
Yeah, Joe Willock.
Got to agree with that.
I got to agree with that as well. I just saw the highlights, but it was pretty evident to me that he's stepping up levels and he's starting to believe in himself, and I think he's in form as well. And as Rule said earlier, he's got to be rewarded with getting on to the Premier League team, at least getting 30 or 40 minutes in a game. So good stuff, Tony.
Yeah, and I
Good
saw
shout.
that there's a stat for that, for him that he's he's the the youngest player to reach 5 European goals since Walcott did it, back in 2009. So he's showing up in the the games that he's playing. We just want him to play in the domestic league a lot more. That's all.
How old is he?
Huh?
20.
How old is he?
21 years old.
21, yeah. Still got
what we're seeing is the nucleus of 2 or 3 really, really good players in that side now. We've got Willock, and KTA is growing, Pepe. So I'm starting to see some things happening with this team. If only Arteta would embrace it a little bit more and allow a little bit less structure, right, Gary?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep.
Okay, Premier League preview. Tony, I'm going to kick it off with you. First couple of games are kind of humdrum games tomorrow. Brighton at home to Burnley.
Yeah, I hate these Friday games. I wish they just totally get rid of them.
Hard to get excited about that. And something else I heard today was they're going to scrap pay-per-view as well. So Burnley fans won't have to pay £15 to watch them play Brighton.
Yeah, it's just horrible having the Friday games. Pay-per-view is stupid. They should have a cheap subscription, kind of like Peacock here, where you just $5 a month or £5 a month get to watch all the games.
Darren, big up yourself. You did a great thing, and there's no need to go into any big deal about this or talk at length, but we just want to commend you for what you did, and we appreciate it. What you did for somebody else was a great thing. The Assemble said that changing room has a few clicks in it that needs to be broken up. The manager is in charge, not the players. There's always going to be clicks. If you have international players that speak the same language, we used to have it with the Spanish players, with the French players. I think it's always going to be the situation. Alonso, the next game, we sort of skirted past Brighton, Burnley. That's okay. Southampton, Newcastle, Alonso.
I like Southampton in this one. I
Yeah.
would say 2-1 to the Saints.
Yeah, and what they had a good result. They beat Everton right last weekend.
Yeah, 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1. Danny Ings is excelling, having a great season. Anything else about Southampton and Newcastle? I think
Yeah, I think
Newcastle are a pretty decent
you know,
team.
since Theo Walcott's come on to their side again, I think that he's been doing a good job with the pace of the ball, and I think he's fitting in well with the team. So I think that he adds a little something to the team, and it's good. It's good to see Southampton do well.
All right, so Gary, after the Friday games out of the way, we got one of the good ones on Saturday morning for us. It'll be Saturday, I guess, lunchtime and afternoon for Sam. Everton play Manchester United. That's going to be a really interesting game, Gary.
Yeah, it's either the. I mean, it could go. It could be the end of Ole. You know, it could be Ole. You know, as in out the door. You know, if it goes one way. I mean, I think Richarlison is still out, right, for that one, right? So he's still out for this. Might be his last game that he's out. So they're missing, the two guys at the top together. But yeah, I think. I don't know what I want out of that game, because if Everton goes out there and basically just blows them away, I don't like that, just because of the fact that they're ahead of us. But then Man U losing would be really nice to see, right? Because it might be the end. Got a little visitor back there, so I don't know. They've lost 2 games in a row. Can they lose 3 in a row? I don't know. I think they're gonna have and they're playing.
Is Rodriguez still injured? I think because they really suffered without him the last game, didn't they?
Yep.
He's quite instrumental, isn't he, pulling the strings in that midfield?
Yeah, and I think depth is an issue for everybody out there, right? And this is they looked really good with their starters, but they don't have anybody behind. So yeah, I guess I want to see I want to smile watching that game. Let's just say it's 7:30 in the morning. Maybe I'll get up in time, but to see it. But or by the time I get up, maybe it'll be 4-0 or 3-0 like it was in the Southampton game. I woke up to that at halftime, and so that will definitely end it. I don't think we want that though, right? We want to see like a 1-1 tie, so we Ole stays on. Everton doesn't, still struggles, even at home.
Yeah.
We do want a positive result for Ole so he can stay in that job, and Everton has started to slow down. What?
Said 1 point's positive enough.
1 point.
How many takedowns is Maguire going to have? Because we're going to have to count that as a new stat, because I like his takedowns.
How many penalties is he going to give away?
Yeah. He finds new ways not to get a penalty, so I don't know what he's going to do this time.
Did you see that one? Was it the last game in the Premier League?
He headed the ball, and they said no, he didn't foul it.
No, what it was, he fouled someone, and then he was blaming someone else. He was like, "What were you doing?" And he's like, "What?" The other guy looked at him. What? You're the one messing up, and you're blaming me.
Samuel said, right, the Flicks have to be respectful of the club who gave them the honour of playing for them. And I think that's very, very true. I think you go back to the old school days, players appreciated playing for the badge. And, I think Gary said they just check their balances now every Saturday or Sunday. And that's definitely true. Definitely true.
Talk about Brian Clough. Oh, wow. Imagine the days of him when he was the manager. And
yeah.
He didn't mess around then. He didn't mess around. He didn't have clicks with Brian Clough as a manager. Well, bloody hell.
Yeah. Rule is more worried about the international break, and we have to talk about that with the Arsenal game. We're going to get into a deep preview of the Aston Villa game coming up. I think Gabriel was called up for Brazil under 23s. So this is what's going to happen. You have a player, Tony, who's excelling, and Gabriel, in some ways, he has outperformed all of our expectations. We we thought that Saliba would be the more prominent player, and that has become more of an issue. In fact, we could probably even talk a little bit about that. I think Arteta said he was irritated about the situation and not the player itself, you know.
I mean, the only person I can blame in that would be him
Arteta
and
or
Adu. I
Saliba.
mean, they're the only ones that could have done anything about it.
Who are you blaming?
They
You're
need
blaming Arteta?
They needed to figure out if he was the player that was going to play this year. And they can't. And I keep hearing they keep saying it was the end of the window. You're telling me they didn't know this long before that he wasn't going to play?
Yeah.
A week before the window closes, and now we're going to make decisions about where he's going to play for the rest of the.
There's something there that just doesn't sit right. There's something that just doesn't make sense. It's very strange. Very strange.
I think there has to be some indecision on the player and what he's been going through, in terms of he must have misdirected the club in some way, and this is only me trying to surmise the situation.
Yeah, I think you've got something there, Ray. I think it's something that because as Gary points out, the club can't be that stupid where they're like, we want to really loan him out, but we won't bother until the last day and see if something can happen. No, of course they would have been on top of that situation. So I think something's happened there behind the scenes that we're not really privy to that information, right? That's private information, but it seems to me that something's happened there. Something we don't know has happened because it just does. The situation is too strange, isn't it? You know, where he's still at the club but not playing. He could have gone on loan. It would have been the best solution for him to have gone on loan. Something's happened there, hasn't it? You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes back to him not playing in the final.
But they were going to take him back, so I don't think that bridge is burned, right? He was going back to St. Etienne, right? That's where he was
talking about. Apparently, that was a deal that they was trying to broker, and it didn't happen for some reason. I don't know, but apparently that was a deal they was trying to broker for him to go back there. But I don't know.
That's where he wants to go. That's where he wants to go now. He's requesting a loan back to there.
Yeah, because that's where he's sort of grown up, isn't it? Type of thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. It really is.
Samuel said Sam, it would have been an all-out war with Clough. He would have put the tea lady.
I'll tell you what. There's I don't know if you guys. There's a podcast called Under the Cosh, and basically it's a podcast with a lot of not top level players. It's like they're in Premier League, but it's not the top, like the big names. It's like the sort of mid-range to lower range players that have been in the Premier League. And it's great interviews because you get so much insight from them of playing the league and what happened off the pitch. You know, when you get stories about big managers and big players as well from their perspective. And there's so many good stories about Clough. I mean, amazing stories. What that guy has done. Wow. I mean, amazing stuff. You guys should try and if you just do a search on YouTube for like Brian Clough stories and stuff, it's amazing. It really is.
I remember a little bit of him. He would complain about Wimbledon. They used to play a lot of long balls. If God wanted us to play in the clouds, he would have put the pitches up there in the clouds. Did Tony get his say about Everton, Man United? Ancelotti will be desperate for a win. I think they've lost their last 2 games, Everton.
Yeah, I think
so that's a good.
We'll definitely be trying to get the 3 points, get their ship back going steady.
Gary, you had a point.
I don't know. I was going to say I didn't even think about Everton losing the last 2 games. So they're both coming in looking, not so good. So it could be. It'd be nice to see a big, 5-5 draw, just because they know they can. We know they can score. We just don't think they have the defense to stop the other, right? So
that'll be an interesting game. Alonso, the next one is Crystal Palace versus Leeds United. Leeds have had a few dodgy results. I thought they would actually give Leicester City a good game last Monday. But Leicester City has started to be the Leicester City they were last season in the earlier part of the season, winning games.
I think that this game could be a draw, but I think that the Eagles will beat them 3-2. I think it'll be a close game, so 3-2 Eagles.
Yeah. Gary, is Crystal Palace a little bit over reliant on Zaha?
Yeah, I think Leeds team. If I don't, what I saw from that Leicester City game, they that didn't look so good. But
No.
I think Leeds as a team is much better. So I think they will. Hopefully they right the ship, but hopefully they don't because we play them next. So
Yeah.
maybe this
Yeah.
is the little route, the route that they're
It's
going to
so
be
far
in.
away, Gary. It's like 3 weeks away.
Oh,
The
because of the break, right?
The interlull is coming.
Okay.
Winter is coming, and so is the interlull, Sam.
Yeah. I can't stand these international breaks. We need to get rid of international football.
Yeah, I saw there was a post in there that every time international break happens, somebody comes down with COVID, right? And
Yeah.
I can't. It's not good from the domestic leagues or the international, games that are going on. That can't be a good look that you're basically hurting your sport, right? Some of the big names might be sitting out either international games or they may not even go, right? At some point, it's like, do I want to risk my players going now because I know that the chances are, even higher now than they were before. We can't control
I
it.
wonder if that will happen. I wonder if you'll see that. And speaking of Alec Ferguson, he used to do that all the time, create some kind of a fake injury to his players and say, you're not having them. They're staying at Manchester United. And, he was clever back in the day with like that. Chelsea are going to play Sheffield United in the next game. Sheffield United have lost to Manchester City and Liverpool in consecutive games. But they've played quite well in those games. It was Manchester City, right? Yeah, and Liverpool they lost. Sam? Can they give Chelsea a game?
No, I don't think so. I think Chelsea are going to be too strong for them. I think Chelsea, when you look at their last couple of games, I think they're starting to find some kind of chemistry there now. Yeah, I just don't think Sheffield United are going to go there and get 1 or 3 points. I just think they're gonna lose, unfortunately, for us.
Sam, are we starting to see Lampard sort of figuring out?
Well, the thing is, what I think it is with this Chelsea team is, I know it sounds a bit harsh, but with that squad they've assembled there, you don't need to be a Johan Cruyff or a Carlos Ancelotti to make that team work. You really don't. You just got to understand who plays well in each position, play them, and it's gonna go automatic. It's an automatic winning machine because
maybe that's the problem right there.
It's really. I mean, you've seen some of these teams up through the years. The Barcelona teams, the Real Madrid teams. I mean, you could literally have a trained monkey as a manager, and those teams would win, wouldn't they? They really would. I mean, they're that good. You got every best player in the world basically in each position. I'm not saying necessarily that Chelsea have that, but they definitely have very good players in most positions now. They've even got a decent goalkeeper now in Mendy. He's quite good. They've done a lot with their defence as well, haven't they? So, and then they got the midfield and the attack as well. That's even without Pulisic. I mean, when Pulisic comes back and if he finds some form again, I mean, my God, they're going to go flying. So, yeah, it's just I think Chelsea, if they find that chemistry now, they're going to be tough to beat. They really are.
Does any one of us five want to go out in the limb and say there'll be an upset in this game? I'm kind of thinking there might be an upset. I might go.
Well, Chris Wilder is a good manager. He's a very good manager. He's very tactically, sound, very, very good. But Sheffield United is not the team it was last year. They haven't got Henderson in goal. They're missing a couple of other players as well. It's not the same outfit as it was last season. And also that they had a very, very good season last season where everything sort of just gelled for them really well. And it hasn't been happening for them this season, It just, those little bits and pieces that normally last season just fit well together it's not happening this season. So, it's just not there for them at the moment. I just can't see them getting anything out of that game, to be honest.
I do.
So you do.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think the good thing about the Premier League is that any given weekend or any given day, there's an upset, everywhere happening. And I think that, whenever you don't have any wins and you want to prove to yourself and your teammates that you're worth it, then I think that somewhere in the near future, Sheffield United have to get a win if they want to stay up, and they have to get confidence. And to do that, they have to do an upset, right? So I think that they're almost there, and I think this is a weekend where they could have a go at it.
Yeah,
I just can't see McGoldrick score. I mean, the only threat they've got is that McGoldrick, and I just can't see him.
And I don't think he starts some of the games, right? I always see him coming off the bench to come in and give them a little spark. I don't think he can play 90 right now. At least that's what he did to us, right? He came in off the bench, scored against us, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, he doesn't start. I mean, I would like to see that. Alonso, if that happens, I would like to see.
They're also the team that scored like nearly no goals as well, right? I mean, they're struggling to score
3 goals. Yeah, 3 goals as well. They scored, so they're looking for
3 goals, conceded 10. But you know what? I'm a great believer in the law of averages, and I think after 7 games without a win, I think they're going to get a win.
This is a big average, though. We're talking about like a Wormer, Hayek, Ziyech, you name it. Like 5 or 6 players have to get contained or just have a really bad game all at the same time. Right? I mean, that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gary, but somebody is going to be disappointed with the international break coming. And there's always a bad result with an international break coming. And then they have to wait 2 weeks to write that result. And I hope it's Chelsea. Last week, I put my neck on the line. I said we would get a win against Man United. I'm stretching my credibility here.
I would tell you, hold it. You save it for. We don't need it for this one just yet. Save it for a little bit later in the season if you're going to do this.
I'm on a hot streak.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
I said we would get something out of the 2 Liverpool games. We got something out of the 2 Liverpool games. I said we would beat Man United. And now my head's getting a little bit bigger. Not just a haircut. My head's getting bigger as well.
I like to see. I just don't see, like Sam said, I just don't see how all the lines are going to connect at the right time. All the stars will be in alignment for something like that to happen. I mean, it's not like they have, they don't have a really good, front 3 or 6, or whatever you want to call it. Attack. Their attack is just really good. They have one play.
Turbo set of fixtures for Sheffield United. They played Liverpool, City, and now they have to go to Chelsea. So it's not easy for them.
Wow.
Tony, any insight, any sage advice for Chelsea, Sheffield United?
What would Davy Crockett do?
WWDD.
I think it's going to be a draw.
All right.
Really? You got Sheffield United, they can't score goals. They've got no one in attack. And they're going to play Chelsea, who are playing quite well. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I think I'll turn it off.
Sam, I think we'll do this. I think we'll pick one fixture out every week, and we'll sort of like put our reputations on it, and we'll see how it goes. I have to say, watching back, we've all been pretty good watching back our predictions over the weeks.
I said Fulham would win last weekend. They did.
Yeah, you said they were going to win.
I said West Ham will win the result.
All right, the next one, Alonso, is West Ham playing Fulham.
I think it'll be a West Ham win. I think it'll be 2-0 to West Ham Hammers.
2-0 to the old Hammers. And run Charlie. We want Athers and Charlie, our friends over at West Ham, to get a win. And Rule said Chelsea still needs direction, even with their super players. Lampard is not the one. And definitely against the big games, Lampard's not the one. Gary, West Ham, Fulham.
Yeah, no. Once again, it's one of those things where which West Ham team are you going to get?
Yeah,
right?
It's not easy, is it?
Which one are you going to get? Because it could be a really
Jekyll and Hyde, aren't they? They're like a Jekyll and Hyde, aren't they? Yeah.
Right, because they are the team that came back and scored 3 goals in 8 minutes, right? That was the West Ham, right?
That was
Game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8
Yeah.
minutes.
so but they are,
James
they are.
Fernandez would not like us still talking about that, Gary.
I'm sorry, but I just, is it going to be that team, or is it going to be the team that we're seeing as far as where they are on the table? Right, they're not that far, from Fulham in terms of positions in the league. So I think,
West Ham win.
it,
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm going to say, you know what?
Why was that so hard? Why is that so hard?
No, if you think that that Chelsea is gonna have a good game, then I think this is not that it's not that big of a stretch.
I said Chelsea are going to drop points. Chelsea will either draw or lose. There's my prediction, right?
You sure you don't want to erase that from this video just in case?
No.
He's in there with me.
When you've built up some credibility, some chips to play with. I'm playing with house money right now.
Yeah, I wanted to actually wanted to talk about the next games when that comes up. I want to talk about that one. So
the next one, maybe Crockett would take 2 shots of whiskey, go outside, and knock out a bear. Assemble asks, can we see anyone living with Liverpool here? They seem to be getting into the groove again. I don't know if they're getting into the groove. They have a nasty habit of conceding goals, and they've conceded the first goal the last couple of weeks.
I think the main difference between them last season and this season now is their defence. I mean, without Virgil van Dijk there now, the defence is not working as good. They've already let in, over a third of the amount of goals already. That they did compared to all of last season, and it's a worrying statistic. I mean, if you're letting in goals, you're not going to win all the points all the time, are you? So, but going forwards, they've done very well with Jota. I think Jota is a very good signing for them. Yeah. The way they fit him into the side now instead of Firmino is working really well for them. But I think their defense is letting them down. I think.
I mean, just think about it. Their defense is 1 goal better than West Brom.
It's true. 15. That's true. They conceded 7 against. They conceded 7 against Villa.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's why
one of those on Sunday, right? Gary, go ahead and since we're talking about Liverpool, go ahead and preview the City Liverpool game.
So, I'll see what you say about this one. So. The team with the worst defense is playing the team with the best offense. What do you think is going to happen?
Okay. I would like to. You know what? It would be typical. It would be so typical. I've said this before. I said I would if I was a betting man, I would like to bet some money on over 2.5 goals in that game.
That can happen in the first 10 minutes.
Here we go again, Tony. The last time you did that wasn't the winner.
I know. The last time it happened, it was 0-0 or 1-1 or something like that. So that's what's going to happen tomorrow. Because I feel like putting, some money on over 2.5 goals, it's probably going to be 0-0.
Yeah. So, Gary, Liverpool have scored 17 goals but conceded 15, right? City have scored 9 but conceded 8 goals. So, what gives there? I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because I don't, Liverpool. Yeah, they're playing well, but I don't think they don't have the defense to hold up, right? So it's a question of De Bruyne versus Salah and Mane. I think in terms of who's going, which offensive side is going to, better the other is what I think is going to happen there. So it could be a wash. It could definitely be a tie.
To more exactly answer the Assemble's question, I think Liverpool are going to be with the pack. They may be toward the top of the table, but I don't see them running away with this season. I think other teams are well in this. This could be a very, very strange league.
They're going to have
Yeah.
blips, right? They're going to have blips because they're not going to be able to be as consistent on the back. So they could have, they had a 7-goal game, and they're going to have blips like that, I think, a lot more than not. Because with the schedule and the international breaks and COVID, you never know who's going to play.
Mm-hmm. Tony, what do you think? City, Liverpool.
I was going to go 2-1 City, but thinking back, watching Liverpool in the Champions League, just getting goals left and right, it's kind of hard to go against them.
Yeah, and as Sam said, Jota has really, really hit the ground there. Alonso, what's your thoughts? Pep Guardiola is going to set his team out to be it's going to be a very, very tight affair, I think, to limit what Liverpool can do against him. I think it could be a tough game for Liverpool, Alonso.
Yeah, I think, with the way Guardiola sets up his team sometimes, his system to be defensive, and you will put on a high press on them. But it is Liverpool, so I think that they'll find a way to beat it. So I think for everybody else, I think it'd be a draw, but I think it'd be a 2-2 draw.
All right, cool.
Because the one is not good, he'll find a pass.
Yeah,
and he's smart enough to pick up on a defense. So I think he'll find that magical pass or even a free kick goal. So I think he'll dictate the play, and I think it'll go from there. And I think Liverpool has Salah, so I think it'll be a good game to watch. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
This reminds me of what you just said, Alonso. Reminds me maybe of Arsenal, a bad comparison maybe. And when we had Giroud up front and we were giving him all of those chances and he just wasn't putting them away, I think Manchester City don't have the strikers that can put away all of their chances for me. So Pep Guardiola is going to have to concede less goals and hope that we pick up a goal here and there. Gary, West Brom versus Tottenham. We got a couple more games to go and then we're out of here.
Yeah, so that was the game that I was talking about where you got your best and your worst, going against each other. So
yes. I thought you were talking about Liverpool when you said
that.
that.
No, sorry. I was going by the time of the day, so I thought it was the next one up. But yeah, I think
just the conversation flowed to Liverpool.
Yeah, no problem. Now I think have we ever seen a 10-goal game before? Has that happened?
We've seen a 9-1 Liverpool Crystal Palace. I think that's the record.
We could see 10 goals easily in that game. I just don't think they'll play long enough to get the 10 goals though. I think they'll pull their starters before.
You might see 10 dives.
Yeah, you might see 10. Well, if you see 10 dives, then how many players are going to be left on the field? At some point, those are going to turn into reds, right?
They only get penalties from dives. Not cards,
No, I could see that game getting out of hand quickly, unless West Brom's defense really, can you put 11 guys in the box and then say try to beat us?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't even come out of the box, and I mean the penalty box.
Yeah. Okay. Sam, we have to highlight Harry Kane. It's my obligation as an Arsenal fan to publicize what Harry Kane is doing. He's endangering other players by his trademark move. He looks to see where the defender is, and then he backs into them.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? And someone needs to clamp down on that. To stop a serious injury happening. But yeah, it's typical, isn't it? Typical FA. They don't really do what they're supposed to do. And so yeah, we'll probably see it again sometime. But I agree, it's not good. Someone needs to clamp down on it. And yeah, Harry Kane, he's got that little bit of a streak in him, hasn't he? That's not very good.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think's going to win in this game? Tottenham, right?
It's just they're just too good. West Brom are not very good, are they? Unfortunately, I think they're just ripe to go down again. They're just not good enough for the Premier League, and I think Tottenham, it's going to be too good for them. They're they're not going to be able to get anything out of that game. West Brom.
Tony.
Tottenham.
Tottenham. It pains us to say it, Tottenham, right, Lonzo?
I never said they were going to win. I just said it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Just for the record, Harry,
If
Harry wants to be on record as not saying they're going to win. Alonso?
the only way that West Brom win is if Karen Gibbs somehow puts a shift in and just annihilates Harry Kane and Gareth Bale and Son, and they'll somehow gets goes up the pitch and scores a driver to the net. And
What?
I'll score, but I think Spurs will probably win that 3-0, I guess.
And then the game before we preview the Arsenal game is Leicester City versus Wolves. That's going to be a decent game, Gary.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game. That's going to be a really good game. That's going to be a really good game because the Wolves' defense is really good, right? So it could be a similar game to the one that we had against them, right? Where it's going to be really tight and it's going to come down to some mistakes and whatnot for a goal to happen. What will happen? Doesn't score much. They defend well based on their record, their scoring record. Leicester's going to go out there and try to score, and so it's going to be a battle of whose offense or defense is going to win the day.
And Leicester looks so good with Jamie Vardy combining with the players around him. And Leicester looked pretty good the other day.
Yeah. I guess I could easily see a 1-0 win to Leicester, but also a 1-1 tie. So.
Tony, Stefan is here. So Stefan, thanks for joining us once again. Well, there was some wig conversation from Stephen Denham, so I think you'd be happy to hear about that. First Clough, but I don't know how this wig thing started, but it's unique to this channel. We'll keep it going. It's great. First Clough buck was brash, funny and obnoxious. Second buck was the man reflecting how he pissed so many people off. And yes, he was often wrong, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great stories about him. I mean, wow. I mean, there's, like I said, just go on YouTube and just go through them. There's so many great stories there that are told in a good way as well by the players who experienced them. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing some of the stories. I mean, I'll just give you a quick one that I thought was so funny. If you don't mind, just 2 minutes, I'll just give you a quick one. Just when Wimbledon, remember Wimbledon were back in the league, in the Premier League. They're called the Crazy Gang, with Vinnie Jones as their captain, and they were just a crazy bunch, weren't they? They just went out and did what they wanted, and they had that reputation of just they were hard boys. They just did what they wanted. Didn't follow the rules. And when they went up to Nottingham Forest. That was when Nottingham Forest was in the league as well, in the Premier League as well. They went up to the City ground. So they're in the away dressing room, and Vinnie Jones and all them are in there. They think they're so, basically Vinnie Jones has brought in this huge boom blast, this big ghetto blaster, huge one. And he's got it in the dressing room playing full music, all this music, and they can hear it in the home dressing room. And Brian Clough is trying to concentrate, talk to his team, and he talks to his I can't remember who it was, but I think it was the Forest captain at the time. I can't remember who it was, but anyway, he says to him, go into their dressing room and tell them to please turn the music down. It's too high. Okay, so he goes in, and of course this guy's explaining, he had to open the door, and Vinnie Jones, what do you want? What do you want? And it's like, oh, can you please turn the music down? Yeah, sure, we'll turn the music down, And then he closes the door and then he turns the music up. Actually turns it louder. And Clough, so he's gone back and Clough was just like, okay. So he says, please, can you go back and ask him nicely? Can you please turn the music down? This is not on. This is not what you do. So he goes back again, knock, and he says, you again? What the fuck do you want? What is it? Vinnie Jones giving it large, and he says, can you please turn the music down? We need you to turn the music down. You shouldn't be doing this. He says, oh, all right, okay. Anyway, didn't listen. Just closes his door in his face. Doesn't listen. So he goes back, and Brian Clough says, okay. So Brian Clough himself goes, knocks on the door. Vinnie Jones opens the door, and it's Brian Clough, and he's got, Brian Clough's got a reputation, and he's the big guy there, basically the biggest guy, at Nottingham Forest. So Vinnie Jones opens the doors. Oh yes, okay, yeah. So it's not quite as brash. Yes, what do you want? And Brian Clough just opens the door, pushes Vinnie Jones aside, walks in, picks up the ghetto blaster, throws it at the wall, smashes it, and he said, "Right, that's your fucking music done then." And he just walks out again, and no one says anything. All these big Wimbledon guys, Vinnie Jones, everything, all the big guys, they just sit there like mice. They can't believe what they're seeing, and no one could hear them afterwards. They wouldn't say anything. They're all gobsmacked. No one would do anything, and then Nottingham Forest went out and actually beat them, afterwards. So just a great story. Just Brian Clough just didn't care, went straight in, smashed the ghetto blast, and Vinnie Jones, who was a big tough guy, was just like, okay.
There's always somebody bigger than you.
It's just a fantastic story, and that's what he was. He was fearless. He was fearless, and it was just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Stefan met Clough as a kid. After the game, he said, "Out of the way, young man," in that accent that I know in my head. I suppose I was lucky he acknowledged me. Apparently, Kenny Dalglish did not acknowledge him. Not impressed. So, Leicester or Wolves, great story, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good story. You guys got to check it out. Anyway, Leicester are picking up some form now, aren't they? They're looking like you said, more like the team from last season, early last season. Yeah. They're starting to gel a bit now. Wolves, a bit up and down, aren't they? Some games they're good, some games they're not.
Yeah, they were very good against Palace.
Yeah, it's just they're not quite as consistent this season, I don't think. Wolves. So for me, I can see Leicester winning again against Wolves, but I can also see a draw because I think Wolves, they do have it in them to pull out a decent performance. So I'll go for I'd say maybe a 1-1 draw in that game.
Yeah. For us, the best result would be Wolves to probably win that game.
Yeah.
Or even a draw would be a good result. Tony?
For us, I want a draw.
Like a draw all day long. Yeah. Just shoot us up the league a little bit. If we get a win, we'll be talking about that next. Alonso, Leicester versus Wolves. Jamie Vardy, will he score again?
Yeah, but I also think that Raul Jimenez will score as well. I really like Raul Jimenez because I think he's a good player. I think there's something in there, and I think that it'll be a good game to watch. I think it'll be a high score, and I think we a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. There you go, Sam. Sam's famous.
2-2 draw. Yeah.
2-2 draw.
Yeah.
He's sexy Sam, and he predicts a 2-2 draw every time.
I would win on the bet though, wouldn't I? It'd be more than 2.5 goals. So yeah.
That would be true. Okay, let's finish it out with the game we're going to be waiting for all weekend. It's the last game on Sunday, and we have yet to decide what we're going to do on Sunday. We might do a podcast during the second half. We might do it after the game. We'll decide. Stay tuned here. But Gary, what's going to happen? Are we going to win?
Yeah, we're going to win. I mean, the one thing that I've been looking for is for us to get our shooting boots on and have a game where we actually put some balls, a lot of balls in the back in the net, right? I'd like to see that. Yeah. I think we've been working hard on our defensive side, and we need to reap the benefits of that with more opportunities on the offensive side. So that also depends on, once again, we're going to change up our 11 again, right? I assume, because we've done it so far.
Yeah.
So who's that going to be? We're expecting the same.
Would you stick with Partey and Elneny?
Yep.
But I can also see him changing that, thinking that maybe he has a better and then maybe screwing that kind of that combo up. So you never know what you're going to get with Arteta. But I would like him to figure out who's that front three that he wants to play in the right positions to give us more opportunities. I mean, they work really hard. They need to see goals. I think they need to see goals. Yeah.
Gary, should we play our own game and do our own thing, or should we worry about their players and try to negate them as well?
I think we should. We should be able to play our own game.
Who's the best player to mark Grealish, in your opinion? We'd be right-sided, right? So it would be Tierney.
I guess so, but I don't like that. I don't like our odds with that. I don't think Tierney. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I think our best defense in the game should be our offense.
Attack. Okay.
I think we should be able to attack them, and they should be worried about that more than, us worried about them attacking us. So.
Tony, how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, hopefully we go for a juggler and do attacking game since they've allowed 7 goals the last 2 games, and just go for their throat and try to get an early goal or 2 and wipe them out.
Alonso, and everyone watching and on playback as well, slap the like on this video if you like it. But Alonso, it's going to be our last game before they seem like long international breaks. We would want to get 3 points for sure, right? It's going to set us up nicely heading into November.
Yeah, I like this game because it will give us more of an idea of what our lineup is going to be or should be, and I want to see AMN give it a go and maybe track Grealish, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of lineup Arteta would put out, and I think it'll be a strong one. I think that he'll probably put out his best 11. Because it is before the break, so he wants to check it out, see how his team is.
Yeah, I think you're right, Alonso. You've come up with some good stuff tonight. That this lineup will tell you more so what Arteta is thinking about his squad than any other lineup this season, probably. But I think Sam and I reacted to this comment equally, and I think comment of the night here. Can you imagine Ozil playing under Clough?
My God, wow.
It would be a bloodbath, right, Sam?
That would be a bloodbath, an absolute bloodbath. I think Ozil would probably quit football.
I mean, how? Where does he sit on? Like, I mean, I thought Ferguson was also a tough guy to play for. Where would he sit? That wouldn't work either there, would it?
It wouldn't work either. No, I don't believe so.
No, it would have been difficult. It would have been a difficult relationship.
What do you think is going to happen in the game, Sam?
I think we'll win. I think we'll have too much for Aston Villa come Sunday. That's what I hope, anyway.
And will the fans feel a little bit easier about the Leno versus Emi Martinez debate? Or will rumble on?
You see, listen, I mean, from what I can tell, Martinez has only made one mistake this season. He hasn't got a great defence in front of him. You've got to remember that,
Yes.
I've seen most of the goals he's let in, not all of them, but most of them. And I would have to say, apart from that one mistake he made, that wasn't even a goal. It was changed by VAR. But apart from that, it's not really his fault, those goals, I mean, he can't stop everything. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And they play a different style to us, so, it's difficult to compare his style. For them, I thought his style suited us so well, playing out from the back. But we'll see on Sunday. I think he's going to make a couple of really good stops. I think he wants to show us, what he's made of.
It's going to be.
And Leno's not been great lately here. Today I don't think he was great again today. So that's the thing. That is a excuse me. That is a lingering question in the air between those two goalkeepers. Yeah. But that's not where it's going to lie. It's going to lie in midfield. It's going to lie in attack. Our players are better than theirs. They've got a couple. They've got 2 or 3 good players. That's about it. but they if they want to play really, if they have a good day and they gel together and they give 110%, they're going to give us a tough game. Aston Villa, they do have it in them to give us a tough game.
And
what's that? A UFO or something or what?
It can't be Tony because he's Davy Crockett. They didn't have UFOs in those times.
No, it's not a UFO. There's no UFOs in the wilderness.
I'm thinking it's Gary. Gary looks suspicious.
It was my phone.
Oh, it's Alonso's. It was a Tinder message or something.
How'd you know?
Yeah, Alonso is standing in for my here. He's one of the younger.
Alien style.
He's one of the younger crew. He's about my here's age, so you know.
Now back to the game. I think we'll win. But the problem is, like I say, our attack. It's our players. That it's just not happening up front. We've got players not playing in the right position. Willian or Pepe outright, they're just not doing it there. Lacazette in the middle, he's not doing it there. Or Aubameyang out on the left, he's not doing it there. They have to change that around. They really do. They have to change it around.
Before the UFO sound came in, I was going to say, you've just told me Emi Martinez is going to be motivated to play well against us. Jack Grealish, because he really loves the stadium, he's going to be motivated to play well against us.
I think Partey will have him in his pocket.
Good.
I'm hoping that Arteta does, pulls a rabbit out of his hat like he's done in a lot of these big games, and maybe he does put Willock in the game because if he can put William in the middle, he can bring Willock on at any time in the season, as far as I'm concerned. And it wouldn't be a stretch for him to do it. So,
Watkins as well is an Arsenal supporter as well.
Yeah, he's a decent little forward, but I think Gabriel should be enough for him. So. I think we should beat them. It's not going to be an easy game. I don't think we're going to win. I don't think we'll win by 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tight game. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll leave it there. Tony, you're going to get the last word, and we'll get out of here.
Really nothing to say. Just ready to watch us play this weekend.
Ready to watch the team again, right? We have to get our fill of Arsenal because we're going to be starved of her for 2 weeks. Right, Gary?
God. Don't remind me.
These international breaks.
Alonso, you're not in favor of the international break.
It's so dumb, because what's the point? How do you guys get injured before the tournaments even start anyway? So it's like it's a waste of time. I mean, here in the States, we wait for USA Soccer, and it sucks. It's garbage, right? And what else do you have to look forward to? I mean, England plays at 8 o'clock their time, so you're missing their games because we work or we had dinner time, so it's like these games are useless to me,
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, it is because most of the guys at Arsenal aren't at top level. So I'm not going to be at any club that we can watch, and enjoy that moment with them. So, it is what it is,
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. We've been going on for about 2 hours, right, Tony?
Yep.
Tony's trying to keep me to smaller podcasts, but he's failing so far.
I like the long ones. Everyone likes
Tony, what is your wolf looking at? Is he watching the TV or what?
I know, it looks like it. What channel is he watching?
What's it? Oh, he's changed his. He's gone now.
He's pissed off. He wants to go outside. He's been whining for the last 30 minutes.
I want to give a shout out to everyone who does watch the podcast, who comes back religiously every week. We do this for you guys. We do this for the community we're building here. So, Stephen Denham, Stefan, everyone who's been in here tonight, the assembled, really appreciate you, everyone, and the K9 does too. All right, listen, until Sunday, I hope everybody stays safe. I hope everyone's doing well, and come on, you Gooners, up the Arsenal. We're out of here.
You got us.
All right.
See you
Come on,
Sunday.
guys.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Cheers, guys.